Joseph Campbell, the comparative mythologist, he said that a god is a potentiality of the psyche. So whether it's Shiva, Yahweh, God in the Quran, any kind of god that you can think of, even a hero or a villain, any of these archetypes, they are potentialities of the psyche. And the problem with mankind is we have this propensity to read the myths literally. But they're really just showing us what's informing the psyche. And in lesson 68 of the Course in Miracles, it says, love created me like itself. And I will, by holding grievances, give my power to a vengeful God. And in so doing, I will not be created by love. I will be trapped in the thought system of the ego. And so if I'm holding a grievance, I'm using that part of my mind, which is asleep to wisdom, asleep to my true nature, to attack and defend a position that has nothing to do with my actual nature. And I don't think there's many people that is listening to what I'm saying here that haven't held a grievance in their life. It's like a very rare thing. But essentially enlightenment or wisdom or happiness or joy is a reflection of the power in the psyche that you're giving power to. Now that could be a passing egotistical love, which I'll love you if you do X, Y, and Z, or it could be an unconditional love, which is your true nature. Now the unconditional love is not like, I'll let you walk all over me and do shit to me and belittle me. What unconditional love in that sense means is that what my body's eyes report, what my ego interpretation reports, is based on limitation and fear, and grievances are its favorite thing because it justifies special love. Whereas real love says, I can see that you're not who I want you to be. But who I want you to be is based on my fearful mind, on my limited mind. And so when I hold a grievance, when I get out of the present moment and I build a narrative in my head where you don't deserve my love, what I am saying about myself is that I am limited in my capacity to love. And from the physical point of view, from the point of view of what the part of the mind that takes itself to be the body determines, that's true. Because you can't love everyone, you can't give gifts to everyone, you can't. Well, that's how it appears to be. But the truth is that everything that you do is a reflection of how you see yourself. And so if the psychic power that you give to, let's say you're a humanist or an atheist, you still have these idols in your head, like he's not worthy of love, I will hold a grievance against this person. And these reflections of the psychic powers that you've prayed at, like in your head, you've worshipped at, right? And you say, I'm an atheist, I don't worship, or I'm a humanist, I just see the good in people. Well, you can be all of these isms, right? I think humanism actually has a lot going for it because it doesn't get trapped in this whole dialogue of atheist versus believer. But either way, whichever one of those stories you find yourself in, if you're holding a grievance at a certain level, you are praying to a psychic potentiality in your mind that says that you weren't created by love, and that grievances justify the wrath of that limited perceiver in you, because the perceiver makes the decision, well, he's worthy of my special love, he isn't worthy of my special love. And so you actually create this trap at a metaphysical level where you are binding yourself. And when you let go of that kind of self-deceit, and the deceit is rooted in the idea that you're not worthy of love, and you're pushing that out, you're projecting that out onto others that you deem pass your test and those who don't, that you're pushing that paradigm out, then you're trapped in an illusion. And this is the whole thing about like advanced mystical traditions. What they're saying is that, and that's where Buddhism is, I think it has so much popularity, because it's not so much about God. It doesn't make God important, but what it says is how you look defines your experience internally. And it's true. Like you are defined when you hold a grievance. And as you practice learning from the idea, love created me like itself, love holds no grievances, love created me like itself, then you start to notice the spaciousness in your mind. And it's not intellectual, because what I've said, everything is based on some ideas and so forth. But then as you bring these ideas to application, you don't hate terrorists, you don't hate pedophiles, you don't hate people that have abused you, you don't hate politicians that you think are coming from a very wounded place. Because what is looking is a reflection of how you believe and take yourself to be at the fundamentals of nature. I'm not saying that you support pedophiles. You say, yes, that's okay. I love you no matter what. Yes, you do say that at an unconditionally wise level, like we create it, but you're saying all the perversion, all the madness, all the insanity in the world comes from insecurity and fear, right? And so I think these, you may have some political positions that you stand by and they're really important to you. And I'm not saying that that's not okay. It's fine to have those positions at a certain level. But the revolution in consciousness doesn't happen by a change in political party. The revolution in consciousness doesn't happen by putting a person in prison or not putting a person in prison that has done something really atrocious. The revolution in consciousness happens because you are not holding grievances. You're not living in the prison of the illusion of who you take yourself to be. You've questioned it, and that questioning changes your identity. We have all these phrases like Spiritus Sanctus and all this, but the fundamental shift in the human psyche is when the mind starts to question in this moment, not when you die. If the thought system that informs the ego, that projects the body into form, has any validity, has any lasting truth. Because if you are a spirit and you're living in a body, what's the thought system of spirit? And how do you live in the body through the inflection of that thought system, as opposed to the thought system associated with the ego? And the ego needs scapegoats, it needs grievances, it needs attack thoughts, it needs defense thoughts. It needs to perpetuate those things to maintain the suffering that keeps you trapped in the body and keeps you ill and keeps you tortured in your mind. And peace sees that. Peace, the state of peace that you are, that is a reflection of what love is, because peace and love go together, it is a state that takes over you, right? And from the perspective of the world at large, there'll be Hallmark cards that say, I love you, you're loved, all of these things. But the truth is that, there's lots of injustice, there's lots of pain and suffering and hatred and lies that masquerade as a justice system or a truth system that push you every moment of your experience of life. Not every moment, but there are moments when there's great peace that the ego just brings to the door of your decision maker in your mind. Do I go with my idea that I'm created by love, or do I go with the idea that I'm capable of hate and suffering and judgment? Now, of course, those emotions and those suffering experiences happen, but the more you sort of gently laugh at the idea in your head at a metaphysical level, at a philosophical and psychological level, well, that's not who I am. That's the trap. That's the death of the spiritual life. And from the world's point of view, you could be seen as crazy, but the difference is you'll be much more peaceful and calm. And your history won't rule your mind. It might rule sleeping minds that have their perceptions of you. But if you really put this into practice and you say, love created me like itself, if you're open to that feeling, right? And all the great acted dramas of the world, the ones that touch us the most are the ones where there's a sense that love overcomes fear, right? And they touch us the most because they resonate the most with what's at our core. And what's at our core is this sense that we were created by love, right? So you can be a humanist, you can be an atheist, you can believe in your gods, but the test of whatever your mythology is are you transcending the condemnational thought system of the ego? That's the only test. Because when you do that, you start to shift in your experience, and everything that happens around you, all your experiences, difficult and pleasurable, become mirrors to gratitude, because the difficult ones are your window to your inner switch to say, okay, I can see this differently. I can see peace instead of this. And the pleasurable ones, you don't have any issue with those, unless they are, causing others pain and they're a reflection of it. Well, but that's not necessarily the case, because people are trapped in the ego thought system will use anything to justify their wrath, right? But the pleasurable ones, if they're an escape from the deeper path of peace, if you get this pleasure, whether it's taking cocaine or whatever, if you get this pleasure at the cost of your equanimity, then that's a trap, right? But so you have to see the lens of what's looking and choose the one that defines you in the image of truth and fearlessness and liberation.